Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Really, how are ya? Welcome to episode 17 of Is It Expired? I just feel like straight up hot mess express today. It is minus 50 with the wind chill. It has been for a couple of days here and it's just chaos. It's awful. I am lucky enough that I don't really have to go outside, but it's still freaking cold. My car is not starting. I am one with the bed at this point because it's cold. It's very cold. This is my disclaimer. Please don't use expired makeup. There are suggested expiry dates on every product you have, and though I don't follow them, I don't recommend other people do what I do. I'm sure these expiry dates are there for a reason, but I am choosing to ignore them. Now, if that comes with a rash, a breakout, or pink eye, that's on me. I'm making that choice. Please don't do what I do. Moving on, the reason I do this project is because I have about 1,000 individual products, and that does not take into account the individual products in each palette. I have 150 eyeshadow palettes, probably about 80 face palettes between highlight, blush, and bronzer, so it's a lot. I have so much stuff. And with the amount of stuff I have, things get lost. Things go into Narnia and are never to be seen again. So I have everything written into an Excel spreadsheet. I will go over these spreadsheets when I do my inventory. I have a couple days off at the end of January and I'm hoping to do it then. It really depends on what my eczema looks like at that point. But that is my game plan. And so I let a random number generator pick 5 items and I try to use those for a week. I check to see if the consistency, the texture, and how they react on my skin has changed. If anything is weird or dry or just doesn't work, then I go ahead and recycle them. So let's see what I pulled last week, what I got to play with, and then we'll move on to this week, which is interesting. There's a lot of color happening that don't necessarily go together. And it's gonna be an interesting week. That's all I have to say about it. Let's go back to last week. Let's start with the Natasha Denona Bloom palette. This is just one of my many face palettes. This is 2 cream blushes and then a very shimmery blush and a highlight. I actually use them both as highlights because that is very shimmery. I did really enjoy this. This is only, I believe, just over a year old, so I'm happy to keep using this. I forget about things, and they're expensive things. So I am excited to have that back into my collection and to move on using it in the future. This is only a couple years old. I believe these came out in Halloween of 2021. I got them shortly after that. This is the Makeup Revolution and the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror collection. This is the lip mask. I have used this quite a bit. As you can tell, there is quite a bit of product out of the packaging. This is the Kang flavor, the lemon lime. It's not old enough to be weird. It still smells fantastic, and I do actually use this most nights before bed anyway, so this will be something that I probably use up in 2024. Next, I have the Viseart Petite Pro palette in Soleil. Ooh, it's turned into a little bit messy. I'm gonna have to clean this up, but that's what you get for using it for a week. I did go ahead and use every single color in here, which was fantastic. I really do actually like this once I kind of learned how to play with a specific formula. I haven't had Viseart in ages, so I had to relearn their formula, and that's totally fine. It's probably not even the same formula that I knew years ago. Beautiful, beautiful once you get used to it. Definitely some dents in here now, which is fantastic. It means I got some use out of it, and let me tell you, I did some looks. So this is going back in my collection. It is, 3 months old, so it's fine. It's totally fine. It's going back in, and I'm going to use it more. Then I do have the Annabelle Metallic Kohl Liner in the shade Sapphire. It's just a beautiful blue. I did swatch this last time. I'm cold, okay? I'm snuggled in, but it's very, very pretty, very smooth. I use this every single time I did my makeup, generally on the waterline. And actually, I do have a couple looks that I was able to take photos of, so I'll put them up there. And that eyeliner is about 8 or 9 years old, so I'm hoping to use it in 2024. It's old. It's time for me to get some use out of it, for sure. And then last here, I have the Glowish by Huda Beauty Bright Light Sheer Concealer in the shade 02 Fair Light. This, again, brand new. It's like 2 or 3 months old. I don't love the packaging of a doe foot with a squeezy tube. Pick one or the other, and I get it. It's easier to like squeeze this out when you're done, but like then just do a squeeze. I don't know. Don't love the combo doe foot squeeze tube. Just my preference. I know some people probably love it, and that's fine. It's just my preference. I'm totally fine with a squeeze tube that I can just put onto a palette and use a brush for, because even with a doe foot, like I'm not just gonna pop it on and leave it. I am gonna go in with a brush and blend it out anyway. So my preference, but I will still use it, and that's fine. That is last week. I did get ready a lot. I was pretty busy last week. I think I got ready about 4 or 5 times, and I had some fun. I did actually have a lot of fun with that palette. I was super uninspired at the beginning, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like pull in singles, pull in, you know, other eyeliners, things to play with. And then it got a lot more fun, you know, as those looks were showing. I did get a little more funky with the colors, and I just had fun with it. I really did. Let's move on to this week. If I can, what did I do with those products? All right. So week 17, my Excel tracker random number generator and I, wow. The random number generator and I, why is this not coming out of my mouth? The random number generator and I have beef this week. It's a weird week. So if you're wondering why, like, everything is kind of clashing, it is what it is. I'm still gonna do it, and I guess I expected this was gonna happen eventually, where I was gonna get things that didn't necessarily, like, match. This was the week. I'll tell you why. We'll start with this. This is my Nomad single shadows. These are the single shadows I got. Gosh, was that only last year? I think it was. I think it was like March 2023. This is the shadow that got pulled. It is Corn Maze by Nomad Cosmetics, and it is like a green-yellow duochrome. It's beautiful. It's just, like, it's absolutely stunning, if you can see that. Absolutely gorgeous. It's just, with some of the other things, it's kind of funky. So I do have that in my inner corner today. I love these. I really, really do. And I adore when they get pulled in. It's just a weird combination. Yeah. This is kind of why. This is my, oh gosh. This, I think, is the oldest product in my collection. It might be. And okay, I'm gonna start this off by saying the only reason I actually still have this in my collection is because my sister gave it to me. I want to say it's probably 13 years old, and it was kind of like right as my interest in makeup, my makeup journey was just about to begin. It was a little bit before I went to makeup school. It was just as I was getting introduced to products in general and starting to really understand them and enjoy them and be intrigued by them. And so I kept this more for sentimental reasons, because I think this is the only product my sister's ever given me. And yeah, that's literally why I still have it. This is the Pupa okay. Umbretta, no, it is eyeshadow mono. I think Pupa or Pupa. It's an Italian brand, I think, originally, and so I think the top, the name of it at the top of the packaging, I think, is in Italian, perhaps, and then French is at the bottom, so I think that is Italian. I don't know. I'm not great with languages as much as I would love to be. I am not. So this is in the shade Luminous, and it is a beautiful blue with silver shimmer. I'll tell you right now, it is, I want to say, 13 years old. The expiry date on here is 6 months after opening. So I was hesitant. This is definitely one that I was like, I shouldn't be doing that. This should be in a makeup memory box, not in my collection. But it still feels fine. There's no smell. And it's still beautiful. There's no patchiness. There's no crumbliness. The texture is exactly the same, and I put it on my waterline today. And so let me tell you, if it was going to react, it's going to be reacting in my waterline because it's literally touching my eyeballs. No reaction. None. Again, I don't recommend using makeup that's 13 years old, but I'm impressed with the result when it literally tells me there's a 6-month expiry date on it, especially on a powder product. Why does a powder product have a 6-month expiry date? That makes no sense to me. There shouldn't be anything in this that would expire in 6 months. That is bonkers. So this is definitely something that in the future will just go into like a memory box, 100%. But I'm going to keep using it because if I'm not reacting to it, I don't have any itchy. My eyes didn't get red at all. There was no watering, which my eyes will water if they're irritated in the slightest. The first thing that will happen will just, and then it's a mess because your eyes are watering while you're trying to do the rest of your makeup and you're like, well, everything's wrecked. Let me just start my whole day over. Nothing. Take what you will from that in regards to expiry dates. Next, I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Pro Pencil Eyeshadow Primer and Color Corrector in the shade Base 1. I generally use this more for my brows, just to kind of not necessarily carve them out, because I don't like them to be that harsh, but if I go a little overboard on the tail, I clean them up with it. That's what I do. This is almost empty. It is about 8 years old, so I do want to finish this in 2024. It's pretty close. He's little. I think I've used about half. These aren't huge to begin with, but I have used about half, so I think I can finish this in 2024. And then I have the NYX Liquid Suede cream lipstick in the shade Oh Put It On. And this is an incredibly dark, almost like purple black. So, this is going to get on everything. It's so dark. It is such a beautiful vampy shade. Love it. However, vampy is not the vibe I could go with everything else that's happening. So I do have an Anastasia lip palette, and I'm sure everyone kind of knows what that is. Let me see if I can find it. The Anastasia lip palette, which has a ton of nudes and your primary colors, so you can kind of mix and match. So that's what I'm going to do this week, and that's what I did today, is I put a lot of the white in and then just some nude to kind of tone it down a little bit. And I still feel a little bit clashy all around, but it's better. It's not as stark and intense as it would have been. So that's what I'm going to be doing this week, is playing with some color theory and trying to make it a little more wearable while still using that particular product. And then last but not least, because again, pricey bitches, this is the Burberry, and it's on fancy little sleeve here, which just is kind of fuzzy, so it like just attracts everything. It's like Velcro. There was a choice made there. The Burberry, oh, that's upside down, Sheer Luminous Pressed Powder in the shade Porcelain, because I'm kind of a pasty bitch, especially in the winter. This is just a, oh, that's weird, okay. It doesn't like open all the way. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. That works. Just a pressed powder. So I do kind of use it just as a finishing powder. It has just the tiniest bit of coverage, so I will use more of like a tinted moisturizer or a CC cream with it, and use this as more of a setting powder so that I'm not going overboard in coverage. It's fine. It's not one of my favorite powders in the world, and it's Burberry, right? So it's crazy expensive. I think I got this in 2022. So not super old. Most of my powders are actually fairly new because I go through powder. I really do. I don't love this. Honestly, I have one from Maybelline that I adore. It's softer, it's silkier, it makes everything just look better. It really does. I don't know. I don't love this. For the price point, I should look like a porcelain freaking doll. I should look flawless. I think these were like $75 or something. I don't even remember how much I paid for it. It was ridiculous. But I am going to keep it because it was very expensive, and I'm going to keep using it. It's not that old. I might as well get the use out of it. I'll just keep going. It's one of those things that you can fight and kick and scream, and eventually you will get what you need. You will get there. It's a lot more of a process than I really like. There was a lot of work that went in to make sure that I wasn't just a patchy mess today. I probably still have some bits and pieces, and that's fine, honestly. Like I said, I am not going anywhere. It is cold. But I didn't love that. I don't like fighting with my makeup, but I will. Again, I would rather use things up organically than let them expire. So I will use it. I think it's just going to be more on summer. Definitely summer, because I have better skin in the summer because it's not -50. So this will be something that's better then. I have a lot of dryness happening now, so it's kind of fair. I get it, but it's more of a summer powder. For sure. That's it. That's all. That's everything. I am going to try and play with these products this week and try to do some things that don't all look the same, I guess. That's always the trick, right? Like, trying to do things that you're just not doing the same look over and over and over again for the week. Which, I mean, if you want to, fine. I like to do different things. I don't like my look to look the same every day. That's the trick with this project. I can't speak again today. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to try and do a few different looks, play a little bit without it looking absolutely ridiculous just because of the amount of color and different color. The Corn Maze shadow has a golden undertone. It's very warm, but the Pupa shadow has a silver undertone, so it's cooler. And then it's like a vampy black purple. So it's very much things that clash, in theory. But, you know, I can make them... I don't want to say work, because I don't necessarily know if this, like, works. But, like, it's okay. It's fine. It's, like, something that if I went out, I wouldn't feel like I need to I'm just gonna go. That's it. That's all. I'm done. Have a wonderful day, evening, weekend, journey. Stay safe, stay warm, and I'll see you next week.